What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
So I've been trying to restrain myself from making this video for the past couple of months now, but today felt like it was time to do so because, well, it is of course DICE's first week back into the office since the holidays, and still they have not acknowledged all of the problems within Battlefield 2042. So I wanted to make this video. Hopefully it gets to someone that can do something about it, because it's getting to the point now where it is genuinely a fucking embarrassment that a AAA studio, a company that is a multi-billion-dollar company, is failing to see what the community wants and is failing to acknowledge all of the problems within this game, and it is just a complete and utter embarrassment. I've been speaking to developers, journalists, EA game changers, and of course just Battlefield veterans and players, and everybody is just looking at Battlefield 2042 now and just laughing at it. There is just such a huge disconnect between what the community wants and what DICE and EA are doing with this franchise, and it just makes zero sense. I've been trying to wrap my head around this for the past couple of weeks, and I still can't come to a conclusion as to why this is the case. And I'm not necessarily talking about the hard-working men and women that are working at Ground Zero at DICE on this game that don't necessarily have any influence or voice when it comes to making these gameplay decisions or whatever it may be. I'm talking about management and talking about EA in general, who looked at this game and thought, yes, it is ready to ship this November, because quite frankly this game needed another year on top of its development cycle in order to even make it a playable game. And I think that this game is now in a position where it's going to cost a hell of a lot more money to make it into a game that people want. And to be brutally honest, I'm really not sure on where DICE and EA are going to take the Battlefield franchise. Of course, I did a Battlefield 2042 development video. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave it down in the description below. But the intention for Battlefield after Battlefield 2042 was to continue to expand on those specialists and almost do a hero shooter, so to speak. And it just doesn't seem like it's going to work out, and I'm trying to understand where the Battlefield franchise is going to go. And to be honest, from everything that I've heard with DICE at this particular moment in time, even they don't know where the future of the Battlefield franchise lies because of the release of Battlefield 2042. Now, admittedly, this could be the reason why DICE and EA are failing to acknowledge the huge problems within Battlefield 2042 at this particular moment in time, but I'm not being funny, and I'm trying to be as honest and as straightforward as possible in today's video, because it seems like this is the only way to get through to whoever may watch this, is that it just takes 5 minutes to put together one of those bullshit pictures with a little bit of text saying, we are sorry that this is the game that you didn't want, we are sorry that this game launched in a terrible state, and we are trying as hard as possible to make Battlefield 2042 the game that it should have been, and it may take time to do so, but I assure you that we are trying our hardest. It just takes 5 minutes to put something like that together, and I completely understand that there is a lot of red tape when it comes to this sort of thing, but to be honest, if Laura Meal can send an email like this towards all of the developers that worked on this game saying, we thought we was ready with this game because of mock reviews and QA and all of this sort of thing, then why can't you do that for the community that has waited a hell of a long time for a game like this? Battlefield 2042 should have been the game that puts Battlefield back on the map, and it's just failed to deliver in every single aspect. And I think that the community just want to hear from you guys that you get all of the frustrations, you get where the community are coming from with this game, and that you acknowledge that this game didn't launch in a state that is worthy of a $70 price tag. And I think that that is what the community needs. And I understand that actions speak louder than words, but just burying your head in the sand and not acknowledging the problems to the community is just going to create more problems. And so far, all that we've got is tweets that look like they was scheduled 6 months ago when they thought that the game was going to launch in a decent state and the community would be on board with it. And of course we had the tweets from the director of communications that failed to communicate with the community what is going on with this game. Now, I'm not entirely sure if he had one too many drinks or whatever and was just saying what was on his mind, but if the director of communications is failing to put out a communication message to the community, then well, I think there is a massive problem with what is going on over at DICE and EA when it comes to Battlefield 2042 and of course the future of the series. And it's just mind-boggling to me, it's just confusing, I'm not really sure where I stand on it all. I just do not understand the massive disconnect between developers, communication, and the community, and the final products that we ended up getting with Battlefield 2042. And I would even argue at this particular moment in time that all of those tweets that they've been putting out these past couple of weeks with the concept art and the lore of the game and stuff like that, it's just plain false advertisement, and it doesn't reflect the final product of Battlefield 2042 at this particular moment in time. So I'm just upset, I'm just angry at whatever has happened with this game. Of course, I did do that pretty lengthy video on what did happen with the game, but I've not been able to get the full picture, so to speak. I'm sure that there is a lot more that people want to speak out on and stuff like that. But it's just upsetting to see all of the content creators move from this game. It's really upsetting to see Battlefield 2042 fall with such a drastic drop in player numbers. And I even went back on the financial call from the last quarter from EA, and they said that 7.5 million people played Battlefield 2042, but from the numbers that I have from Thanksgiving, only around 4.2 million people have actually played the game, and I did report that those were the sales. That is simply not the case. From what I've been told, that also includes people that have played with Game Pass, and that number also includes people who did get a refund. Now, to be brutally honest, I wouldn't expect that, a million people got a refund on this game or whatever it may be. It's probably in the tens of thousands or something like that, but it's just upsetting to see Battlefield in the state that it's in. This should have been the game that puts Battlefield back on the map, and I know that I get memed for saying that Battlefield was going to kill COD this year and stuff, but those early leaks, they came from summer 2020, you'll see that in the Battlefield 2042 development video. Those came from summer 2020, and it seemed like at that particular moment in time, of course, I didn't know that those leaks did come from then earlier last year, but those leaks came from summer 2020, and it just seemed like they had a really good grasp on what Battlefield should be, with the tsunamis, the massive destruction and stuff like that. And due to lack of time, they just needed to scale back, and I've even seen the messages from some people saying, we had to scale back to focus on the Twister, just solely focusing on one major weather event, that although that it looks cool in a trailer, in practice it doesn't really add anything to the Battlefield experience, in my honest opinion. So the game just needed more time. Of course, the game is released now, there isn't more time, it is what it is what we've got, and I'm not sure where the direction of Battlefield is going to go. I've been trying to think of solutions off the top of my head. Should they just refund everyone, take a $200-300 million loss or whatever it'll be, and just make Battlefield Portal free to play or something? I'm not entirely sure. It seems like building on top of Portal seems like the better alternative here, and I really do doubt they'll do that, but that is just what I think they should do. But yeah, I'm really upset, angry, or whatever you want to call it, about how this game has turned out. I feel really sorry for those content creators that were relying on this game to make it their year, so to speak, and I definitely feel sorry for those who have stuck with this franchise through thick and thin. and who were looking forward to this game. It was meant to be, you know, a competition against Call of Duty, and it just didn't hit the mark, and it's really sad to see. So hopefully DICE and EA will address these issues. They do have a quarterly earnings call on February 2nd, I believe, so it's going to be interesting to see what they say there. Hopefully we'll get an insight into the future plans, because obviously investors are not going to let this slide. So that's going to be interesting to hear about, but ultimately I just want DICE and EA to address these issues and just acknowledge the fact that they are listening to the community, and I think that they then need to just shut up, get on with the job at hand, and turn this into a game that is playable and functionable, and a game that the Battlefield community wants. Like I said earlier on in the video, I'm not entirely sure if it's even possible at this stage, because it could require a lot of money and staff to actually make it happen, but at this particular moment in time, it seems like DICE themselves don't really know where the future of Battlefield lies, so they're not even necessarily working on the next game. It's just concepts and stuff like that of course can ultimately get scrapped in this pre-production phase. But anyway guys, I'm going to leave the video as that. Like I said earlier on in the video, please do check out my timeline of Battlefield 2042's development. It gives a great insight into what exactly happened, and now they just need to rectify that and address the issues instead of just burying their heads in the sand. But anyway guys, I've been Tom, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.